Sup guys, out of here with a short guide for Zul'Farrak dungeon in WoW Classic Hardcore. The appropriate levels for this dungeon are around like 44. You can go below 44, but it's not recommended. I would say 44 to 50. You can go here above 50 also, but the experience is gonna be slashed a little bit. Trash packs are mostly consistent of 3 mobs, sometimes 4 mobs. Same applies to patrol, not too many patrols here, just in very specific locations. Before you engage first boss, you have to clear quite a bit of trash. As usual, try to be careful with not overpulling the mobs, because trash here is pretty nasty. There are casters, there are blood drinkers, and there are also later in the dungeon there are mobs who will hex. This hex is dispellable. So for example, here there is a pack on the left, there are multiple casters here, there's one guy sitting here, there is a patrol of 2 mobs. So if you just completely reckless and you go in and pull a bunch of stuff, that's not going to be a fun situation to be in. So once you're done with the first corridor, you turn right, then you're going to turn left, because the first boss is located in its own corner. We turn right, we're going left here. There are a couple of mobs here. Some of them are in the corridor, and there are a couple of mobs running around on the hill. It's up to you whether or not you want to pull them, but just keep an eye on them in case they're pulled at the back and they are smashing your heal or maybe some ranged DPS. Actually, yeah, I was thinking about the boss. It's actually the second boss, not the first boss, because first boss is actually this guy, Theka the Martyr. And he has a bunch of scarabs, but he doesn't do anything. You can pretty much pull him with some scarabs. So these scarabs, they're only good if you have the quest for scarab shells. Then you can clear the whole room, and basically your whole party should be done with these quests. How much time can you pull at a time? That completely depends on your party. You can pull from as little as like 4 mobs all the way to like half a room probably at a time, if you have good AoE classes and like strong tank. These scarabs, they cast some diseases from time to time. Be sure to dispel those if you can, obviously, and then you actually come into this corner I was talking about. Now here you need to be careful to not go aggro the boss before you actually clear patrols, because if you aggro the boss with the patrols, it can become very sketch, and boss aggroes around this area before you enter. So boss is technically in the cave, but it will aggro when you step around like this line, so around maybe like 5 yards before the cave. So be mindful of that, and I would recommend pre-clearing all of this area. So there are a couple of crocs here, one on the right, one on the left. There are these guys. Then that guy on the right, he's also patrolling, and I believe there is one more guy on the left here. So ideally, again, before you engage the boss, especially if your group doesn't have too much DPS, try to clear everything. So once the boss is engaged, he will auto spawn 4 of these broodlings. These are just like one-shot material, they don't do anything. Then the boss will spawn 1 big croc, serve it of 1 to Sul, and that's it pretty much. So you can just blast the boss. Alternatively, you can switch to the ad, kill the ad first. He does like a stun on the tank. However, this stun is dispellable, so again, this is not too dangerous. So after that boss, you go through another corridor. There's gonna be a pack on the left in this room. You don't have to kill it. You can just go past that, and you should be fine. Then you're gonna arrive to the next boss. Be sure to kill the patrol first, so it doesn't get in the way of you killing the boss. So the boss, it looks like it's green, but when you come close, he will become red. So for DPS, I would actually suggest hugging the wall here, so tank has easier time aggroing the boss and the ads. Like boss is a simple like a shaman type boss. doesn't do anything significant. If you can interrupt the spells, do it. If you can't, you should be fine either way. So when you kill him, you proceed to this large area, like a square. There are a lot of mobs here. There's also a patrol here. And what I recommend doing, clear everything here. You can skip mobs that are far from the stairs, but anything that is relatively close to the stairs, you need to clear, because stairs is where the next fights with the bosses is gonna be, and one of the bosses, it has a fear, and so if you don't clear, for example, these mobs on the right, even though you may not pull them initially while fighting the boss, they can be pulled in the process. So you kill in the patrol. There is also one more guy patrolling here. As you can see, sometimes there are ships being casted, or they can be a stuns casted, but stun only the croc casting a stun. So yeah, try to clear everything. We didn't clear this guy who's walking around here, and he aggroed during the fight with the boss, and you don't want that to happen. So again, pre-clear everything near the stairs. So then you go up in stairs, you kill this guy. Again, he doesn't do anything. Somebody should have the key, and you can open cages, and then there are NPCs. They will go out of these cages. So they will come out of their cages, and you will see a bunch of mobs spawned in this area. So there are two ways to approach this. You can just sit here and wait for all of the mobs to come to you, or you can like manually pull packs. It's gonna be a bit more dangerous. The majority of mobs that are coming upstairs to you, they are non-elites, so in general that's fine. And also it's not like one big fight, so you will drop combat and your healer can safely drink to restore the mana. When this event ends, you clear the last pack, these NPCs will start to go down the stairs, and you're also gonna see two bosses appearing here. And alongside these bosses, there's gonna be regular mobs. What you can do, you can clear regular mobs first, not engaging the bosses, because like once you come closer, bosses will aggro. Here it actually became a little sketchy, like this is a real situation. So first of all, bosses pulled prematurely before we cleared the regular mobs, but that's not the end of the world. However, you can see these mobs. This is the regular mob that we haven't cleared previously. And this mob, he's running and he's gonna social aggro this guy. Meanwhile, tank is tanking the regular mobs, and boss starts to cast on me. And it actually pretty significant damage. So as you can see, this guy now social aggroed, and he also probably coming my way. At this time, tank gets feared. This fear is not dispellable. Now, imagine that if we haven't cleared mobs here, for example, and tank gets feared, and he runs into that pack, and you're gonna have more mobs. This is a really sketchy situation. That's why I recommend clearing it all, just in case. So here, again, boss continues to cast on me. I had to drop target dummy. I don't know, that wasn't really mandatory in this case, but I just felt better safe than sorry, really, because there's also this shadow hunter just shooting arrows on me. But that was pretty much the only scary part. After that, boss was dead. So after that, the NPC arrive at the end point. And then you can talk to one of the NPCs and it will trigger the next event. They all will become hostile. So there are 4 mobs in total here. First, always kill Murta. She is like a priest. She has heal, holy smite, renew. This guy, he's like a warlock. You can actually, if you have like a mage, you can ship him. And then kill the raven, then kill Sergeant, and at the end kill him. Or alternatively, if you don't have a ship or you don't want to CC, kill in this order. First Murta, then this guy, Oro, then Raven, and then Sergeant. Here we just blasted everything pretty much because our group is quite high level and damage was really high. So once you kill the Sergeant, don't forget to loot him for the quest item. You can go in this middle part up the hill. This is where technically last boss of the dungeon is, but usually you don't heal him last. You just kill him and then you go to the other side. Here there is a patrol of 2 mobs. Then in the room of the boss there are 2 crocs, 4 snakes, and then a boss with another NPC. So recommended way of doing that, you kill 2 crocs, again dispel the stun, then you kill snakes. Snakes do pretty significant amount of damage, and then you engage the boss. Do not pull them all together, just clear every pack one by one. Boss is not scared at all. The recommended way of doing him is first clearing the NPC next to him, Ruzlu, and then you finish off the chief himself. Once the chief is dead, it will trigger the mini event. The mobs will come out of here. These are non-elites, so you can just one-tap them, basically. Then you go into the other side, just go down, and then turn left, go to that corridor. So you're gonna arrive into this large room. This room can be quite dangerous if you're not careful. The reason is there is a big pack of 5 mobs on the right. You don't want to pull it with anything else. You need to kill it like separately if you kill that at all. There are multiple patrols around this pool, including the boss. There is a boss here. It's also a quest boss. And there are just regular patrols. On top of that, this goblin is from a vent from upstairs. He can run to the mobs and aggro the mobs. If you have the time to kill the mobs quick, I would actually recommend doing that in like this position. Like in this scenario, there was a boss on the other side of the pool and there are no other patrols coming our way. It would be actually, I believe, better to kill these 3 mobs. Well, there are only 3 mobs on this goblin. But here we just waited and Tank wanted to pull this pack on the right, which is also fine. Pack itself is fine. Just try to kill all the healing wards and obviously dispel hacks. Now, look at that. You can see there's another patrol with 4 mobs there. So imagine you pull in this pack and that patrol. This is gonna be scary. That's why here always keep an eye on where the mobs are. And here you can see the boss here. Especially in pugs, always assume that somebody is gonna be in sketch position and they can potentially pull something. So it's better to be safe, pull all the mobs back, rather than like go into the pack and then pray that everybody's gonna like hug the wall, watch the paths. Like that's never gonna happen. I mean, some groups are very good, but in the majority of pugs, nobody's paying attention. Here also you wanna pull the boss separately. But look what's actually happening on the left now, while we're killing this boss. Goblin already had 3 mobs on him. And then this patrol comes close, obviously social aggros. Now there are 7 mobs on this poor goblin. Now, we just blasting the boss at this point. Goblin is quite durable, but at this time he dies finally, and again, this is not the situation you want to be in. You don't want to be in a situation where you're fighting something and then you get another pack of mobs coming your way. So in this case, luckily, we were just fighting the boss. She doesn't do much damage, but still, we have another 7 mobs here. So what is happening? You see the Shadow Hunter. He's coming, he's on me, and then he polymorphs me. Now at this point I cannot get out of polymorph. There are no dispels in our group. And all of these mobs look how many mobs actually here. They're coming here. So again, try to avoid this situation in the first place. Here I come out of the polymorph, target dummy just in case, and in general that's fine. But keep in mind that if there are multiple shadow hunters, you can have multiple hexes. And if this hex goes on a healer, that's like additional possibility that something is gonna go wrong. So I would say that this room is the most dangerous in the whole dungeon, and you really need to be careful in this room. One thing to point out though, that this room technically has two bosses. So there is a humanoid boss and there are also Hydra. In order to summon Hydra, you need the mullet of Zul'Farrak. Now there are plenty of guides on how to acquire this mullet. It basically involves some elite quests in hinterlands. Usually in most pugs I've been in, somebody has the mullet and people want to kill the Hydra. That's why you basically do this. In the event, if you don't have the mullet and you don't need to kill the Hydra, you also don't need to kill all of these mobs. You can just wait when the boss comes here, pull her back, kill her, and then you TP out or run out. Whatever, you don't need to kill this trash. But if you're killing the Hydra, obviously you wanna pre-clear all of the mobs on the left, mobs on the right. Person with the mullet need to hit the gong and then the Hydra will walk out of this pool. What you wanna be doing with this boss, you wanna pull her here under the arc. She has very big, very large hitbox. She casts some abilities, but the biggest ability is this, when she's like throw you into the air. And that's why all of your party should be below this dark, so you like bump your head on the ceiling and comes back instead of like flying 50 yards into the air. This boss also is a quest boss. It's a quest in Shimmer and Flats, I believe, that awards you with the trinket that increases your mount speed a little bit. So that's Zul'Farrak for you. Again, nothing too crazy, but need to be careful. A lot more deaths happening in Zul'Farrak compared to like previous dungeons, definitely. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.